comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life.
Welcome back to the Project Gen X podcast. I am one of your hosts, Alan Smith, along with...
I am the other guy, Big Dave.
And on this episode, we are going to be covering something that is very Gen X, something that was very seminal to us in the 1980s. We're going to be talking about, and where this originates from for us covering it is that Netflix has it's a great documentary. It's called The Best Night, or The Greatest Night in Pop.
Yeah.
And it's all about the recording of We Are the World.
Well, the creation
and the recording of it, yeah. And I'm going to be honest. I am really surprised it took them this long to do a documentary about this subject, because this was one of those things in the 1980s, in 1985 specifically, that was just mind-blowing of how did they get this together? How did they get all of these... I mean, some of the biggest stars of the time, some of them are still huge stars, involved in this, of how did this come together?
Yeah.
And then, you find out that it was recorded in one night. And
the night of the American Music
Awards, in January of 1985. And it is just, it's a really spectacular documentary. And we'll get into it. We're going to start this whole thing. Dave, tell me what you remember about this whole thing. I mean, outside of the documentary, what you remember about 1985 and the We Are the World. The We Are the World and Live Aid, and all the photos coming out of Ethiopia, all this Bob Geldof and Harry Belafonte and all these people doing all these big
It was just another one of the news stories that was being covered every day on the news,
and it was every day.
It was everywhere. It was the AIDS epidemic. It was
at this time.
Yeah,
this was bigger. It was getting a lot more press than the AIDS epidemic was.
Yeah, but it was just part of that regular news cycle.
Right.
I think probably the thing I remember more about it was the song itself, when everybody made such a big deal that it was being broadcast over so many different networks.
They did it all at one time. Yeah, there was one day that they had it was being broadcast around the world at the same time. Yeah. On this one day.
They picked one day at one time.
Right.
Coordinated it between the time zones and played it, for the entire world to see.
Right.
All at the same time.
Right. Because you got to remember, this was pre-internet, so that was pretty spectacular in and of itself to be able to do that kind of thing, to coordinate it all. That's one of the things with this documentary, is that coordination is probably the big, how did you get all of this done?
The coordination part of it is actually the miracle of the entire
thing, is.
Not the song itself. So.
Well, it's funny because it's same, and of course of course, those of us who are listening to this, being Gen X, we remember a time before 24-hour news cycles and all that stuff. So it's one of those things where, when you would turn on the nightly news at Eastern time, or not Eastern time, but Central time where we live, it was the nightly news, whether it was a CBS nightly news or it was the NBC nightly news or whatever it was, came on at 5.
Yep.
Or 5:30. Maybe it was 5:30. Was it a half hour or hour?
Usually,
I think it was half hour, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a half hour.
Yeah, so it came on at 5:30.
The nightly news,
and then the local news came on at 6, and that was an hour, from 6 to 7 our time. I'm on the West Coast, or the East Coast. It would be 7 to 8. But all of that stuff. I mean, it was one of those things. This was a lead story for months and months and months, even prior to. Because as the greatest night in pop, which I love that name because it makes sense. You start looking at all the pop stars that were involved in this. It's like, no joke. This is getting all these people together. That was just miraculous in and of itself. At the end of '84 was the Band-Aid, what they called Band-Aid. It was Bob Geldof got all the European. I think, it was all the European singers together. They did. Do They Know It's Christmas? Yeah,
that was December of '84.
Yeah, and so it was one of, and again, you go through there, you have Sting and Bono and Geldof and Duran Duran, and I mean, just all these, what's his name? Phil Collins. I mean, it's like you go down the line of like all of these. I mean, it was a big deal. Okay. Yeah. And then so the Americans decided, hey, we're going to do the same thing.
Well, it was, what was that producer's name? No, it was Harry Belafonte.
Harry Belafonte was, Harry Belafonte
got together with that producer. I can't remember what that producer's name was.
I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head now. It's Ken something. But Belafonte had been involved in a lot of humanitarian stuff for years, decades at that point.
Yeah.
And so, that his name being attached to this lent a lot of credence. It was like, oh no, this is
King Cragen.
Ken
Cragen.
Cragen, that's it. So, and then, bringing Quincy Jones on, getting him
as kind of the
he's a producer. He was a producer, and it's like, hey, and of course at the time he was the biggest thing. He had produced Thriller and so many other albums that, just coming off of Thriller was big enough, not to mention everything else. And I love that how this kind of, because you will get interviews with like Lionel Richie, and Sheila E.
Bruce Springsteen,
Huey Lewis, Cyndi Lauper, Kenny Loggins.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. I can't remember who of the artists. Those are the ones but then there were other, producers and engineers and cameramen and stuff that they talked to, behind the scenes guys. And Lionel Richie is kind of the point man on all of this, because it was him and Michael Jackson who got together and wrote the song.
Well, tried to write the song originally, but Lionel went over to Michael's house and kept getting interrupted by animals.
I love the story about the snake. The snake.
Hold the snake, Lionel. He just wants to be loved like everybody. I ain't holding that snake.
I know. It's so funny. Or the story about the dog and the bird were in an argument.
Yeah.
It was like, it's really funny with all that.
And on top of it all, Lionel Richie was hosting the American Music Awards
right.
that year.
Yes.
And so he's trying to write this song. He's trying to put together this music,
right?
This song and music video, because they're going to videotape the thing while they're doing it.
Right. And that was, but the thing with Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson, and they had originally had contacted Stevie Wonder to come in and help, but as Lionel Richie says, like Stevie kind of operates on his own time frame.
Yeah.
So it was kind of one of those things that is like, hey, we got to get this thing done. So it was him and Michael Jackson who wrote the song. I really liked the way that he was presenting him, like how they approached writing the song.
Yeah.
Where it was, okay, what kind of what are we doing here? Are we doing an anthem, or are we doing whatever? And he was doing the whole thing where he was like, he started off with the national anthem, and he's doing the rhythm with his hand of like, this is the tempo. It's the tempo.
Of it.
Right. And he's like, okay. And then he went to, what was the next song? It was
God Save the Queen. Or da, 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 da,
was it that?
It's like, no, that's not going to work.
It started. The first one was he was doing the tempo for Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah. And
then it was another one of those. It might have been God Bless America or something like that. And they were like, okay, that's the one.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, that's cool. That like that's how they approached it. Of like, okay, what's the tempo that we're going to go with?
We need something that's going to be memorable.
Right.
We need something that everybody can sing along with. We need something that's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was, and then they started writing the actual lyrics and stuff. And even they said they were kind of taking it. They were kind of
being blasé
about it. And then of course,
because they figured they had plenty of time.
And then, like I said, Quincy Jones was like, "Guys, we need this done now."
Well, no, what it was is they were trying to figure out how they were going to get all these artists in the room at the same time, and they realized that the only shot they were going to have at doing this was at the same time the American Music Awards was going on. Right. It's like, we do the awards, we get everybody over here to the studio, and we do this thing, and that's going to be our only shot. Well, that's 3 weeks away. Mm-hmm. And Quincy calls Lionel. It's like, this is when we're doing it. We need the song now.
I know.
And they were literally cutting the demo so they could send cassette tapes.
The day up. Or it was
a week before.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, they said the week before they sent out 50 demos to the people that they wanted to come in, and it was just a demo, because like this show, I love the fact that they documented all of this.
Yeah,
most of it. You didn't get a lot of the early, or you didn't get much of the early stuff of the two of them, working on stuff. It was once they hit the studio and were starting to work on the demo. From that point on,
it's getting documented.
They've got every bit of it being documented, and I would love to see all of that footage. Yeah. I would love to see the raw footage on all of this stuff. And and that was when We Are the World was released in '85, seeing that music video. Yeah. And everybody in the room and this, that kind of stuff. And it was like, oh, this is kind of cool. At the time, not realizing that, oh, no, they were documenting hours and hours and hours and hours of all of this. This wasn't just a music video that was being shot. This was a filming this musical history that was happening, So it was kind of cool, like seeing what was going on around the outsides of that, what wound up being the music video,
and the absolute chaos.
Oh, yes.
Stevie Wonder was causing the entire time.
I love that. Was one of the things that when they started talking about coordinating people, and they were talking about, okay, this is the day we're going to do this. We're going to bring them all in after the American Music Awards, blah, blah, and Lionel Richie saying, Quincy Jones told him to say, hey, look, we need to have this thing organized the best we can because there are troublemakers in this. And he was like, Cyndi Lauper is a troublemaker. Stevie Wonder is a troublemaker. Yeah. We cannot have a lot of downtime or else this thing is going to turn into chaos. Yeah. And Stevie Wonder just about derailed everything with his wanting to put Swahili. Yeah.
They lost Waylon Jennings
because of it. I know. And that's
Waylon was like,
again, we got to see him walk out. Like we actually got to see that footage of him being like, "All right, I'm out. This is Yeah,
he's in the back. He's not even got to have one of the main lines. He's just basically in the choir.
He's in the chorus. Yeah.
Okay, we're doing Swahili. Nope. I'm out.
Yeah. What was he say? Ain't no country boy ever.
No, ain't no good old boy ever sung Swahili, and I ain't about to start.
Yeah, I know. But also watching them, the way that they handled that situation was pretty cool. Like, they were going through and everybody's kind of like, okay, what's going on here? And Stevie is like, no. And he's singing and this and that and everything. And you see Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson standing there and Quincy Jones. But the one that was like the real was Bob Geldof. Yeah. Because he was there. They brought him in to give a speech, basically telling them, this is what I've seen. This is the mindset we have to have. These are the people that we're helping, kind of stuff. And him basically saying, I appreciate what you're doing here. Yeah. But he's like, the people that we're trying to help don't speak Swahili. So you're really not doing anything to, and it was like, oh, wow, Geldof was the one that was like, hey, let's bring this back in to. Yeah. And then they had a little compromise because like that sha-la, and that was kind of
and it's nonsensical because Michael Jackson was just making up.
I know. Like, and again, Michael Jackson comes in, like, I'll tell you one of the things I did love about this, because while the American Music Awards were going on, Michael Jackson was at the studio recording his parts, like doing, his stuff. I loved watching that. Yeah. Of just like
his process
of of him. He's sitting there, he's in this room by himself. He's just standing there and he's like, hey, and he's like, okay, what's the lyric? Can you bring me lyrics so I don't forget? It's kind of one of those things where you think about something. It's like, no, I need all this stuff just to make sure that it's the way it needs to be. And it was. I really enjoyed the process of it all, of seeing how they did it, and then them talking about after they kind of had people like, okay, this is who we want to sing this line. This is who we want to sing this line.
Yeah.
And then going through and charting out like, no, we want these together because they have their vocal register is pretty close to each other, and this and that kind of stuff. And like Dionne Warwick was another one we talked. That was
Quincy Jones brought in his
engineer,
but also brought in his vocalist orchestrator,
right? His arranger,
who would go in and actually arrange the voices by range,
and they worked together. They worked together forever, and it was kind of one of those like, okay, we're gonna put these, and that was the whole of Dionne Warwick, because they interviewed her, and she's like, okay, who are you singing with? And he's like Willie Nelson. She's like, oh, well, this is gonna be interesting. Yeah. And the thing is they blend really well together, and it's just, but again, you wouldn't think we're gonna take Dionne Warwick and Willie Nelson and have them sing together. It's like, okay, these things are like way far apart, So, I really loved the Huey Lewis interview. Yeah, all of his stuff because
he was just a regular guy being like, I can't believe I got called in.
Yeah, that was the whole. They really wanted Prince to come in, and
Geldof ended up starting a war of words with Prince after Prince decided not to really, and this wasn't in the documentary. I read this in an article. It's like, well, Prince, he hasn't decided if he's going to come or not. And the whole reason they recruited Sheila E., and Sheila E. talks about,
I know, is that she wanted to make sure Prince would show up.
Right. Yeah. And she felt used.
Yeah.
She appreciated being part of the process, but she also felt very used by the process.
So she was told that she was going to sing one of the lines, and then, but that was kind of one of those things also, which something she said, she was like, look, Prince was never going to come in and do this. There was too many people. Yeah. It just, he would not have been comfortable around this many people. Yeah. And, I did like the idea.
He offered to do a guitar solo. And Lionel was like, this is not a guitar solo.
Right. Song. Yeah, I know. And it's just like, it's funny because like, I remember watching, I think it was the Grammys in like 95, somewhere around in there. And they were talking about the 10th anniversary of We Are the World, and they brought everybody up to to sing the song at the end. It wasn't not just, it was like all the artists. It wasn't just the people that were involved. Prince was there that night. Yeah, and it was funny because you can go and look this up, and he's standing there front and center, and this was Prince at probably his quirkiest. He had this point where like. There was this point in the mid-90s where Prince he would show up places and he would have like a color-coordinated lollipop with him. Yeah. Okay. And this was one of those nights. And he's sitting there and he's like basically sucking on his lollipop, not singing at all. And Harry Belafonte is there, and he's like, and he's got a microphone as well. He looks over and sees Prince and he walks over and he like puts the microphone out to him like to sing. And Prince like, puts the lollipop back at him and then just puts it back in his mouth. It's like, Prince, that is Prince Biscuit. It's all right, buddy. I know there's doggies out there making noise. Calm down, calm. Lay down. Biscuit had something to say about that. He's like, don't you talk bad about Prince.
What do you want?
And he's like, he's like, I want you to love on me. That's what I want. So it was one of those things that was one of those. They didn't get Prince. They didn't get several people that they kind of. And so Huey Lewis wound up taking Prince's line. Basically, is what it came down to. And it's funny, like hearing him talk about it, where he's like, hey, all these really great singers, and then I'm here. Yeah. He's like, I didn't. He's like, we were having a moment, but
all of a sudden now I've got to sing Prince's part?
I know, exactly. I loved even at the end of it when he was talking about, he's like, when it finally premiered, and he was like, I was in the shower the first time I heard it. It came on the radio, and my part came up. I'm like, yeah, it didn't sound bad.
Yeah. So when they recorded it, they actually did the chorus parts first. Mm-hmm. And let me just read you some of the names that were in the chorus.
Okay? Oh, yeah.
Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah. I know.
Harry Belafonte, Lindsey Buckingham, Mario Cipranilla. I don't even recognize that name. I'm just going to hit the ones I recognize.
Was he in the News? I know there was one of the guys from the News that was in there.
Johnny Cola.
Okay.
I don't recognize Sheila E.
Yep.
Bob Geldof. Bill Gibson, Chris Hayes, Sean Hopper, Jackie Jackson, LaToya Jackson, Marlon Jackson, Randy Jackson, Tito Jackson, Waylon Jennings, Bette Midler, John Oates, Jeffrey Osborne, Anita Pointer, June Pointer, Ruth Pointer, and Smokey Robinson.
You have left out Daryl Hall.
No, this is the chorus.
Oh, this is just the chorus.
This is just the chorus.
Yeah.
Now, the soloist.
Oh, yeah.
You had Lionel Richie, Stevie Wonder, Paul Simon, Kenny Rogers, James Ingram, Tina Turner, Billy Joel, Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Dionne Warwick, Willie Nelson, Al Jarreau, who we're going to get to, Bruce Springsteen, Kenny Loggins, Steve Perry, Daryl Hall, Huey Lewis, Cyndi Lauper, Kim Carnes, Bob Dylan, which we're going to get
to that also, yes,
and Ray Charles.
Yeah.
Now, of the people that played the actual instruments for the song, the only name that you're probably going to recognize is one of the Porcaro brothers, Steve Porcaro.
Yeah. Who played on everything.
It played on everything and in Toto.
I know. Yeah.
So,
yeah. That, again, you go back and look at, like, I think it might have been him. You look at from 84 to 85, how many huge songs that he played on. I mean, just.
Yeah. But let's get to Al Jarreau.
Oh, hold on just a second.
Okay.
Hold on. All right. Al Jarreau. Troublemaker.
He had evidently started the party at the American Music Awards.
Right.
And when he got to the recording for We Are the World, wanted to celebrate the fact that they were doing this before the whole thing was ended.
Right.
Because he kept opening up bottles of champagne.
Yeah.
And who was it that put it? They said he had over-celebrated just a little bit before he had gotten his part recorded.
Yeah, and he was having troubles getting his part recorded. And they were like, look, we got to go ahead and get this done before he's too drunk to be able to remember what he's supposed to sing.
Yeah, and they finally got because you couldn't just record his part.
No.
Because one part led into another part, into another part. Right. They all overlap. So every time they did it, they had to start over.
If you remember the We Are the World music video with all them standing around microphones, that was them actually singing. That was what was being recorded. That was not done for, we're going to make the video so everybody come in. It's like, no. That was them actually recording the way that they did it. And I love also, before they started doing all that stuff, I loved hearing the footage where Lionel Richie's telling them, because Lionel Richie was coordinating all this, like in the studio of like, okay, you guys here, in that they had gone through and they'd put tape down and how their names written on pieces of gaffer's tape, and they had put it on the floor. This is where you're gonna stand, and so they're all standing there like, no, stand in front of where the line is, and then when you sing, you have to come up to the microphone.
Yep.
So it's not just, and it was like, again, this entire thing is all about like the art of coordination. It's
that old 30s and 40s recording style, to where there was one microphone in the room, and they would literally place people in the room depending on how loud the instrument was or how they wanted them in the mix.
Right. And it was funny because like there was a couple of times in here where there were problems, like when they first started doing the chorus, and they're like, okay, everybody, we need you, if you're gonna sway from your knees because we're picking up.
Everybody was tapping their toes.
Right. They were like, we're picking this up in the microphones. You can't do that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then when Dionne Warwick was recording hers, there was another voice that they couldn't figure out where it was coming from that was in the mic. And they're like, look, you have to just go ahead and record this and we'll go back and fix it later.
They finally found it and got it out.
Yeah.
She was able to record her part.
Right. And then Cyndi Lauper goes in and they're like, we've got something else going on here. There's something else going up in the, whatever. They couldn't figure it out. And she's kind of getting frustrated because everybody's like, And come to find out, it was all of her necklaces that she was wearing were like jangling together when she would move up the microphone. Yeah. So she had to take all of them off.
And not only that, like the sound was reverberating back off of, so she was getting this weird reverb off of her necklaces.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and then that was like, okay, it's kind of, now, dude, I said this when the first time, because I've watched this a couple of times. I've always liked Cyndi Lauper. Amazing voice. That woman has an amazing voice. And they talk about there, like they even, I think it was Lionel Richie's like, Cyndi Lauper's got like octaves for days. I mean, she can just keep going and going.
And Huey's only got like that 3 or 4. I know. And they were going to have to get him to do that high note for that harmony part.
I know. And it was kind of neat watching them work out harmonies and stuff in there as well. Because like, on the fly.
There wasn't supposed to be a harmony part with that bridge.
Well, none of it was there to begin with. Like that was one of the things that Huey Lewis talked about is like, the demo tape didn't have any harmonies whatsoever. It was just the straight. He's like, now I got to come up with something. And it was really neat watching a lot of Kenny Rogers trying to work his out with Paul Simon. And like they were like, hey, and they were working together and different people like that who were like, okay, you're going to sing this and you're going to sing this. And it was like, it was really neat watching the process of all of it. But I was sitting there watching, and I was like, I forgot just how cute Cyndi Lauper really was. But I mean, she still is. She's still very beautiful. But I was like, that young Cyndi Lauper, just like watching her. And when I say cute, I'm not talking about like necessarily her physical. I'm just talking about her. Yeah,
Pixie girl.
Yeah, it was just kind of like manic pixie dream girl in a lot of ways.
The original
manic pixie dream girl. I know it was like one of those things I just like watched. I was like, no, I just want to hang out with her. Which was another that they talked about when they were at the AMAs. Yeah, that everybody's backstage and Lionel Richie was like, Cyndi Lauper came up to him and was like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. My boyfriend doesn't think this is a hit. And he was like, look, nobody's making you do anything, but you need to do the right thing here. That's kind of like... That's kind of like one of those things.
He's hosting the show and running all the politics to make sure that everybody got there on time.
That's also one of those things. Imagine being asked to do that and then passing on it. Yeah. It's kind of like Joni Mitchell with Woodstock. Like her manager told her not to go to Woodstock. It was like, it's going to be a disaster, blah, blah, blah. And then like after the back being like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't go to Woodstock. I didn't play Woodstock, And she wound up writing the song Woodstock. After, sitting watching, the replay of it and everything. But it was one of those things where it was like.
Actually, the manager was probably pretty smart because it was a disaster.
Oh, it was.
It did fall apart.
It did, but just the cultural of playing at Woodstock, it was like,
okay, boomer.
Anyway, but I'm just saying, well, I mean, let's be honest.
No, you're not wrong.
You say Woodstock and everybody, oh, you know what? Yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah, fuck Woodstock. So, as I said when we covered Woodstock '99, I think our generation pretty much put a stake through that heart. So we burned that one to the ground, literally. So
you're not wrong.
But again, passing on doing something like that and then being like, oh man, this was not, I'm not just culture, but that was just a huge thing. It was a huge single.
That might have been Prince's animosity towards
it. May have been. Well, we'll get into some other stuff here in a little bit. Bob Dylan. Okay, first off, let's talk about this. Not everybody was at the AMAs that night.
No.
Springsteen had just come off of the Born in the USA tour, literally, and he was in Buffalo.
He had just played his last show.
In Buffalo.
And
there was a snowstorm.
Well, as a rule, he didn't fly the day after.
After finishing a show. Right.
Yeah, he would stay there.
Right.
No, he would stay there and rest for a couple days before he'd get on a plane. I think that was probably more to preserve his voice than anything. Yeah. But he was willing to get on a plane immediately and fly out to do this.
Dionne Warwick was also one of them that basically it was. I think she said that Lionel Richie called her up, or it was Quincy Jones called her and said, "You're going to be in L.A. on this date," and she's like, "No, I got." He's like, "No." She's like, "No, I'm not. I'm going to be in Las Vegas." He goes, "No, you're going to be in L.A. on this date." Yeah. And there was a few other ones that flew in that weren't at the AMAs that night. Yeah. So again, coordinating all this stuff was just, and that was also one of the assistants for Ken, the producer,
Cragen.
Yeah, that they talked to
talked
about his Rolodex. So this was the days before
electronics,
before cell phones.
If he would travel, he was traveling with suitcases full of nothing but Rolodex.
Yeah, I know, and it's just like basically just went through the Rolodex and started calling people like, "You're coming to do this. You're going to be here. You're already going to be in town. No excuses. You're coming to this." Just
one of my favorite things is when they were interviewing one of the camera guys, He said he was outside. He was kind of helping wrangle people in.
Oh, yeah. He said he didn't know who was going to show up.
He didn't know who was going to show up. And he said this old raggedy GTO pulled up across the street and parked, and this guy in this leather jacket came walking across the street. Goes, hey man, do you know where we're supposed to go? And he turns around and it's Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, he goes, because that's when I knew this was going to be something big.
Yeah. But the fact that
Springsteen loves his old muscle cars. I mean, he loves those things. I don't blame him for it. No. But yeah, it was really cool. That, and what was of course the Bob Dylan story. And they were, Dylan didn't know what he was supposed to do. When they were doing the ad libs at the end, and they have. I'm trying to think. And of course, Springsteen did one, and Ray Charles did one, which they didn't show much. Wait, before we get into that, the story about Ray Charles was over playing the piano, and he was like, it went during one of the breaks, and he was like, "Man, I gotta go to the bathroom." And Stevie Wonder goes, "Oh, don't worry, I know where it is. Come on, follow me." He took his hand.
No, he says, "I'll show you.
I'll show you where it is." And they were like, "Wow, literally the blind leading the blind."
Well, to me, that's your first indication that Shaquille O'Neal is right.
There are people who suggest that
Ray Charles is not as, Stevie Wonder is not as blind as he says he is.
There is a difference between being legally blind and being totally blind.
Yeah.
And that's even being legally blind, there are degrees of it.
Yeah.
And but anyway, but yeah, all that stuff, and that was the other thing, Stevie, we forgot to talk about, where he showed up. When they were doing the demo, he's like, "Okay, we're going to write this thing." He's like, No. We've already done all that.
Yeah.
This is...
You're 3 weeks too late,
yeah.
Stevie. Thanks for playing.
Yeah.
Why didn't you call me? We did 3 weeks ago.
Dr. Dre told a story about that, when they sampled one of his songs.
Yeah.
That they had gotten in touch with Stevie Wonder's people, said that he got a phone call at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And it was Stevie Wonder. He's like, "Hey, I heard you want to use one of my songs." Blah, blah, blah. He's talking to Kevin Hart, when he's telling the story. He's like, yeah. He's like, Stevie Wonder called me at 6 a.m. He goes, "I'm sure he doesn't know if it's 6 a.m. or 6 p.m., but it's just 6 o'clock, And Kevin Hart lost it. He just started laughing. He's like, he's got a point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just, the Bob Dylan, and you can really see it. Well, in all of it, that Dylan just feels completely out of place.
Well, everybody's like, "Oh, it's gonna be Dylan." He's the big activist, musician,
a musical icon. It's voice of a generation, amazing, and blah blah blah.
Because
I know he's like, I have no idea what to do here. Yeah,
and it was.
He was just kind of singing along.
I think it was Stevie.
It was Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder and Lionel Richie pulled him over to the piano.
Yeah. Actually, he asked Stevie if he would play the piano for him,
right?
So he could kind of get it in.
So they go over to the piano when they're working, and Stevie Wonder starts doing a Bob Dylan impression.
Yeah, and shows him
this is what you're going to sing, and it's wonderful to because it's one of those things that Lionel Richie even said. He's like, Stevie Wonder is a mimic like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And he's like, he was doing Dylan almost as good as Dylan. And they worked it all out over there. And then Dylan went back and did his part. And all right, cool.
Which was still not great.
Yeah. Well, it's Dylan. I mean, that's, I love some Dylan songs.
Yeah.
I love it when other people do Dylan songs. Let's be honest.
I think one of my favorite things is when Jack Nicholson was so drunk at that award show, and he asked Robin Williams to come up and, and translate for him. Mm-hmm. And at one point, Robin looks at him and goes, "Jack, now you're so drunk, you're just doing Dylan. Stop it."
I remember there was that SNL sketch back it was in the 90s somewhere, where it was they were doing some kind of charity thing, and it was like somebody was playing Dylan. He's like, and Tom Petty's like, "Don't worry, I'll translate," and he's like, it's like the same thing of can't understand either one of them. It's but Dylan is so weird because you'll listen to some of his. I know we're getting off on. You'll listen to some of his stuff, and it is that what you think of that Dylan, and then you'll hear other stuff,
and it's amazing,
and it's just like, where did this voice come from? like, why has he not always been doing this?
I got to see him live once.
I've seen him once, yeah.
And it was at River Stages.
I was there at that one.
That was a good show. That was a really good show for him.
And he wasn't doing Dylan.
No.
He was
being
just
somebody
singing.
else.
Yeah, and it was really good. And I was at that show, at the River Stages show.
Yeah.
That's the only time I got to see him. I was supposed to see him one other time. I think it was him and Willie Nelson were on tour together. And I was like, okay, this will be kind of cool. And then something happened. I didn't get to go to the show. No, that's not right. I actually did see that show now that I think about it.
Should I ask questions?
I've seen Dylan twice. No, I just remembered that because the reason, I'll tell you why I said that is because they had an opening act.
Okay.
It was.
Should I ask questions why you barely remember?
No. But it was Lyle Lovett.
Oh, I love Lyle Lovett.
Lovett was the opening act, and then Dylan came on, and then Willie Nelson, because it was the Willie Nelson picnic or something. I forget what it was, and the reason I always associate the things I remember was Lyle Lovett, because he came out with his big band.
Oh yeah,
kind of stuff. And then when Willie was out playing, Waylon Jennings came out and did half a dozen songs with him.
Well, I mean, they had 4 or 5 albums.
Yeah, I know.
Waylon and Willie.
Yeah, I know, and that's the reason why I didn't, because it was kind of. I've always thought about the Lyle Lovett, and then I got thinking about it. I was like, that was them. They were both on that.
You get the chance to go see Lyle Lovett, you go see Lyle Lovett, because what an amazing songwriter.
Yeah, it was a good singer.
Yeah,
on top of it all. And again, you're sitting there looking at, like I said, those 4 people that I just named, all great musicians, all great songwriters. Just like.
And what did you pay for tickets for that show?
Dude, I think I paid about $17 or $18.
Yeah,
for it.
exactly.
It was in the late '90s somewhere. And that was. We had grass seats. It was out at Starwood.
Yeah,
and I don't remember. I didn't get messed up that night. It was just I got to think about it. I was like, wait a second, Dylan did play that night. Okay.
No, the thing about it is if you sat in the grass seats at Starwood.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you get contact high.
It didn't matter whether you were doing anything or not. Right. You were leaving there with the munchies.
Yeah.
Just because most definitely everybody around.
As soon as the lights went down, man, it just it was
the cloud of green smoke. It went up from the grass section.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And but that was
and that's not why they called it the grass section.
No,
it was just a big grassy hill that you could just sit on the hill on a blanket.
It was just a big yard basically. It was an amphitheater. It was like general admission all back there.
$15 tickets all day long for days.
Sometimes it was less than that. I remember buying tickets for like $10 for some things, and usually, therefore, until the very late '90s. I know we're getting on a tangent here. You could buy pavilion tickets for $17, $20
in the back.
$20.
If you wanted to be down front, it was a
little more, but it was
$50.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that much. I remember buying tickets for a couple of shows where I had like 3rd row tickets. That's about as close as you could get without having to win them at the time, or something like that. Because the first 2 rows, they always were given out for whatever. But I got 3rd row tickets to several shows, and I think the most I ever paid was about $35 for them a piece. And that was a much different time for buying concert tickets. And then within a decade, it had tripled almost for a lot of that stuff. It's like, this is ridiculous. This is why I'm not listening. I'm not going to concerts much anymore.
Thank you, Ticketmaster, in the music industry.
Yep. So, all right. So
tangent over. Go back to the song.
The song gets recorded. They put it out into the world, and
it has made $140 million
right
today.
Yes.
It started out with raising $63 million when the song was first released and sold.
Exactly. And, and again, all going to famine relief and doing a good thing. However, it led to Live Aid.
Yep.
Had a lot to do with it. And that was...
And Live Aid led to Farm Aid.
Eventually, a lot of that stuff. But Live Aid was another huge thing. It was two concerts. There was one in London and one in Philadelphia, and
going on at the same time with video feeds going back and forth between the two,
and Phil Collins flying from from London to Philly to play both of them.
Yeah.
And there were some
Phil Collins owned the 80s.
There were some very memorable performances. Queen, obviously.
Yeah.
U2, that kind of put them on the map for a lot of people.
Yeah.
More than they had been.
When was War released? It would have been right around then, wouldn't it?
That was War was released early. Actually, they were on the Unforgettable Fire.
Is that
tour?
What that
yeah,
was?
Because they did Bad. That was they did two songs. They did Sunday Bloody Sunday, which was on War, and they did Bad, which was on
Unforgettable Fire. Okay,
and as well as some. I mean, of course,
I knew it was right around that time.
Of course, it was in '85. Of course. Hall & Oates performed because they're from Philly. I mean, they're really Tina Turner, Mick Jagger. I mean, there are tons. Zeppelin showed up and just sucked, horribly. And there was some other stuff that I think Genesis did kind of a reunion, if I'm not mistaken, and there was some really great stuff, but it was really Queen is kind of the one that everybody goes to.
That's the one that everybody remembers because that was kind of
at Wembley. Yeah, that was
kind of the last hurrah for Freddie.
One of the last major things that Freddie Mercury did. And again, they raised a lot of money, and I remember watching it because again, it was broadcast over multiple networks, and that was a MTV. Had pretty much all access. They were only 4 years old at the time.
Yeah, they had
all access to everything, and that really was kind of the day because they covered it all day long. Now the networks came in during prime time and were showing stuff, but MTV.
If you wanted to see the little bands that
you could see everybody on MTV, and it was an all day long thing. And that really, they kind of came into their own that day of these guys might be players, with some stuff. And of course, it all culminated with all the artists coming on stage and singing "We Are the World" at the end of Live Aid, and that's a really nice moment of all of it. And then Bob Geldof took a big check to Ethiopia, and handed it over, and then the bad started.
Yep.
All right.
You always go here.
It's true, though. I'm going to read this. So in 1986, Spin Magazine did an article about they were a year on from Live Aid of hey, how is this money gone, and what good has it done, and all that kind of stuff. They found out some, to use a phrase, inconvenient truths about all of this situation. And what I'm reading here was written in 2015, which, 30 years on from Live Aid and We Are the World and everything.
Which that song is still raising money.
It still is. I know.
And getting sent over.
And they did a follow-up from their original article. Mm-hmm. They basically re-released the article with some updates.
Yeah.
But Bob Guccione Jr. wrote this intro. Okay. And I'm just going to read the intro. You can go to spin.com and find this.
You will probably post a link in the show.
Oh, I will. Absolutely. It says here, one night at dinner in late 1985, a friend talked about Ethiopia being in a civil war. Neither I nor anyone else at the table had heard that. It hadn't been covered in the American press. This was just 6 months after the Live Aid concerts in Philadelphia and London had directly and indirectly raised over $100 million for famine relief in the African nation. The next day, I asked my sister Nina, an assistant at Spin, to research this because if the country was at war, it would surely be difficult to move aid around and get it to people who needed it. In those days, we didn't have the internet, so research was done by going to the library and trolling through trawling through endless spools of microfiche, film of newspaper pages from around the world. I remember doing microfiche, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That evening, she came into my office, ashen-faced. She had discovered it was clear. She had discovered it was clear and very well evidenced that this famine, the awful depictions of which had pulled on the world's heartstrings, was man-made by government planes deliberately napalming rubble farms. Every year, Ethiopia experiences some degree of drought, the worst ones bringing famine. But the country historically dealt with this. Some years were worse than others. In 1984, the famine that had inspired first Band-Aids, Do They Know It's Christmas, and then Live Aid, was very bad, and people were dying of starvation. But the cause was less nature than cynical genocide, a fact apparently so easy to discover that an editorial assistant barely out of college did so in a matter of hours at the library. I asked Bob Keating, a superb young investigative reporter who had just started working with us, to look into this for a story. The assignment was simple. All this money had been raised. Where was it going? Was it actually doing good? He discovered it was not doing good, but horrifically, unimaginably the exact opposite. The Ethiopian dictator Mengistu, until then deadlocked in the war, was using the money the West gave him to buy sophisticated weapons from the Russians, and was now able to efficiently and viciously crush the opposition. Ethiopia, then the third poorest country in the world, suddenly had the largest, best-equipped army on the African continent. By this time, we had all seen the pictures and TV footage of Bob Geldof, the figurehead of Live Aid, bear-hugging and playfully punching Mengistu in the arm as he literally handed over the funds for this slaughter. It was on TV now, all right, but as an endless, relentless reel of heroic Bob Geldof highlights. He drenched himself in the adulation, and no one begrudged him. Until our investigation exposed the Holocaust at Live Aid's collected donations had helped perpetuate on the Iridian independence fighter, Iridian. Okay, most damningly, Keating reported that Geldof was warned repeatedly from the outset by several relief agencies in the field about Mengistu, who was dismantling tribes, mercilessly conducting resettlement marches on which 100,000 people died, and butchering helpless people. According to Medicine Sans Frontiers, who begged Geldof to not release the money until there was a reliable infrastructure to get it to the victims, he simply ignored them, instead famously saying, quote, "I'll shake hands with the devil on my left and on my right to get to the people we are meant to help," end quote. In the course of preparing our story, we tried to interview Geldof, who in the beginning perhaps expected more of the same media worship, was apparently willing to talk, but as soon as he and Live Aid realized what we knew and were going to ask him about, he declined. For more than a month, we kept calling and faxing requests for his comments. As we were nearing our deadline, we FedExed him written questions and 2 cassettes every day for 2 weeks. 2 cassettes because I urged him to record his answers on one machine, send us 1 cassette, and keep the other as a record so there could be no dispute about quoting him out of context. He never replied, and our report in July 1986 shocked the world. That is not an overstatement. It comprehensively exposed the fraudulent use of the charitable money by unmistakably the world's most brutal dictator and the naive, hubris-drenched, unwitting complicity of Live Aid and Geldof. After the story broke, Geldof lied, claiming we published it to punish him because he wouldn't grant us an interview. That sounded as ridiculous as it was, and more crucially, was a pretty thin rebuttal for the serious issues revealed in the article. At first, our story was met with a terrific backlash. We were vilified by a disbelieving media who felt we sensationalized the situation in Ethiopia to sell magazines. Our music industry advertisers pulled their ads. We went on the offensive, and I personally did hundreds upon hundreds of interviews with anyone who would talk to me. Every interview concluded with me going, quote, "You're a news organization. Look into it yourself," end quote. Many did, and then more, and slowly the tide turned as they began to realize we were right. Live Aid had, through its missteps, exacerbated the already terrible humanitarian crisis. Eventually, the Wall Street Journal ran an op-ed exonerating our reporting and commending us on being brave to uncover the real story, unpopular though it was. This week, Spin is republishing the stories that we ran over a several-month period, starting with the first article today, which is the 30th anniversary of the concerts in 1985, and continuing with our follow-up investigation, published in September '86, and the publication in the August '86 issue of a statement Geldof distributed to the media, but not to us, which he then rebuffed point by point. Once again, 29 years later from the original publication of these articles, we have asked Bob Geldof to respond. And it says, Bob Guccione, founder of Spin Magazine, July 13th, 2015. Yeah, so
the world's full of useful idiots, and the road to hell is paved with
good intentions. Absolutely. And I don't say that to bring it, oh, look what it was like, but that happens quite a bit.
Yeah. They tried to do a good thing. Excuse me. Oh, no, we did not do a good thing.
Bring it into modern day Ukraine.
Yeah.
All those billions of dollars that the U.S. is sending over there, it's not helping the people. It's lining people's pockets. It's all it is.
Well,
it's funding. It literally is funding a war machine is what it comes down to.
And that's what it was.
On both sides.
And then that's what it was designed to do in the first place.
Absolutely.
Eisenhower talked about this in his speech with the industrial military complex.
I know. He warned us. He warned us on the way out the door in 1960.
And we walked right into it.
And it's just again, it's a... Yeah, get more coffee. I'm forcing Dave to drink after that one.
I've had a head cold for 3 days. I need this.
It was funny because when I first heard about it, I did not hear about all of that I just read about until a few years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember when the article came out.
See, I wasn't following a lot of public, in '86 I was 12. I wasn't really following a whole lot of that stuff.
At that time I was reading Rip, Metal Circus, Rolling Stone, Spin. Rolling Stone to me back then had pretty much showed itself to be a garbage magazine. Oh, yeah. So I had dumped them and had gone.
Corporate magazines suck.
Had mainly gone to Spin.
Right.
And alternative press when it started coming out.
And Spin had, because Bob Guccione, he had a reputation of hey, we're not just going to sit here and stroke the egos of all these people that we're doing interviews with. Yeah. We're going to actually do some journalism. We're going to ask tough questions and kind of get to the bottom of it. And they've been both heralded and vilified for doing that stuff over the years. And so that was it. I don't know. It was probably about 10 years ago or so when I first heard about this whole situation. And I went and I found that article and read it and was just like, you've got to be kidding me. Because the thing is, like he said in that intro there, that was just the intro. There's the whole article is there from, that they did in '86. And he, like he said there, it was one of those things that the mainstream media did not cover it. All they did was, they moved on to whatever the next thing was after that. Yeah. And it was just,
what is it, 24-hour news cycle? 48-hour news cycle?
The 24-hour news cycle didn't really come in until the early 90s sometime.
Yeah.
And that was CNN. That was basically after the first Gulf War was when the 24-hour news cycle really took off.
And you just moved from distraction to distraction.
Right. And it was back then. It was, let's be honest. After Live Aid, what was the next big thing that happened? Challenger exploding.
Yeah.
And so that became 6 months. That would have been...
I remember sitting in the cafeteria at school watching that.
And, and all that. And it was like... Well,
that was my shuttle. That was the shuttle I was going to be an astronaut on.
Oh, yeah.
And they blew it up.
Yeah. Yeah. And, again, because of... Well, we can't put this off any longer. It's going to, there's all kinds of... Yeah. People should not have died that day. Really it was an easy fix.
Yep.
Hey, wait until the weather's where it's supposed to be.
Yep.
And that's every bit of
quiet. It was because there was a school teacher on board and they wanted to make the news.
Yep. And it they had already delayed it twice and they were like, we can't do this anymore and people are going to lose interest. And well, they
lost a little bit more than
sure interest. Didn't lose interest after that. I can tell you that much. It's, and unfortunately,
Is it sad that when it was Discovery was the second one, wasn't it? That
Columbia was the one that in 02, 03.
Yeah. So is it because of that? When the second one happened, I was like, well, it was just a matter of time.
Yeah, and that one happened on re-entry.
Yeah,
that was
they lost the heat shield.
Yeah, and that's kind of important on coming back in. So, but yeah, it's a really good. We talked about it. It's a really good documentary. I really enjoyed it.
It's on Netflix.
It's about hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes, somewhere around in there. It's about what it needs to be, not like some other stuff that's way too long.
Depends on the subject matter.
Yeah, it really does. And
this was about the right length for this.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. It kept my interest. I didn't fall asleep in it like I do a lot of documentaries. Mm-hmm. So,
and I love documentaries. And anyway, it's one of those things
I do too,
with docs that you also have to look at, all right, who's making this?
Yeah.
Why are they making it? What are they trying to push here? That kind of stuff. And this did not get into
the
politics at all. It was just about, no, we did this thing. Yeah. And
this is the why.
This is why. This is the how.
Why we did it. This is the how we did it.
Yeah.
And thank you very much. Good night.
Yeah, it really was. And I really enjoyed the Lionel Richie interviews throughout all of this.
Yeah.
There was nothing in this that was self-aggrandizing. There was nothing, that was going through.
Pretty much everybody who was being interviewed was very
very down to earth.
I can't believe I was in
exactly.
the room.
Well,
talking about, was it Diana Ross that was walking around going, hey, could I have your autograph?
Yeah, they said that when one of the breaks that she went up to Daryl Hall and was like, I love your music. Can you sign my autograph? Can you sign my sheet, my sheet
my
music?
Lyrics?
Yeah, and sure, and it's all of a sudden people started going around signing stuff, and it was like, that's really cool, she was also, they said that, after it was over,
she was sitting there crying.
Yeah, she's like, I don't want this to be over. This was I love the Paul Simon quote. He said when they first got there, like they were all lined up, and they get ready to sing, and he said he turned around and looked. He goes, "Well, if a bomb falls on this place, John Denver's going back to the top."
Yep, that's true. When they started singing.
Deo?
Deo.
Yeah, that was pretty good too. That was like all of a sudden because they were...
Well, they were recording it, and all of a sudden they break out the Deo, and then the automatic harmonies.
Oh, I know. Everybody came in.
It was just like wow.
Al Jarreau was singing the
lead part
and everything. It was
But like just the off the cuff harmonies that were happening.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
In that room.
I know.
It's like,
and I like. There was also that Lionel Richie said that when he was given the final, these are the people who are going to be here.
Yeah.
And he said, I looked at it and I saw these are some of the greatest singers in the world. And somehow I'm here.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is a level of humility that you love to see from especially big stars like that. Who are like, oh wow, I can't believe I'm on this list with all these people, So it was definitely go check it out. It's on Netflix. It's funny because I don't have Netflix, so it was one of those things that this did not come into my orbit until it had been out for a little bit, and it was another podcast that I listened to who said something about it. I'm like, I'll have to go check that out.
I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, and you have Netflix, and it was like I don't know how much they're
it never popped up. It was never advertised.
So I don't know how much they're actually advertising this thing. It really needs to be pushed.
I'm about sick of Netflix's algorithm because the movies that they're feeding me as recommended for me.
I know
is garbage that I would never watch.
I know, and that is the same thing with Max. I have Max.
Yeah, I'm starting to get with
and they're recommended for you. I'm like, I would never watch any of these movies.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would think that I would watch this stuff, and just or based on what you've watched, like this does not show anything of what I would watch.
Now, one thing that I did enjoy the other day is I noticed they had the A24 collection on Max.
Yes.
And I went to the A24 collection and literally just rated the movies I'd already seen. It was like, that sucked, and 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 that sucked. That one was okay. I like that one. That one sucked. That one
I
sucked.
like A24. I mean,
it depends.
Not everything they do is great, but when they
do hit one,
they
it's
hit
like,
yeah.
I still haven't seen Iron Claw yet, but I want to. The Witch was okay.
The Witch, yeah. I really like that one. I like The Green Knight. No, I know a lot of people didn't. And
I've watched it, and I let it go. I was like, okay, I don't know what to think about that. And I waited several months. I watched it again. And I was like, I can't do
Watch Hereditary.
Okay.
Now, Midsommar can take a long walk off of a short pier. I'll tell you another one that's really good. It's A24, and it's on Max. It's called Mid-90s.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that. It is, I believe it's written and directed by Jonah Hill.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. And it takes place in the mid-90s. It's like it's skateboards, that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed it quite a bit.
Now, A21's got a new one coming out called Civil War.
Yes.
And it's basically about a new Civil War. I'm kind of interested to go to see it and see what they think the next Civil War is going to look like.
There are from that trailer, there were certain things where I'm like, no. Maybe, who knows? Nobody knows, it's a...
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not one of those studios where I'm like, oh, the new A24 movie's coming out. It's like, I take it, X was really good. I really enjoyed that one.
I need to see that.
You do. And then I have not seen Pearl, which is actually a prequel to X.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I really enjoyed X because it's that right amount of it's a slasher, but it's also kind of comedic, type stuff where it's like,
yeah. You got to have some comedy with your horror.
You do.
Freddie taught us this a long time ago.
So anyways, now that we've gone off on a little tangent here, go and check out all of our links in the show notes. Like, subscribe, rate us on your podcast.
Please go to Apple Podcast and rate us.
Apple is the one that helps the most.
That one really helps us. We appreciate you doing that. But rate us on all the podcasters.
Yes.
Because we know you have like 5 or 6 podcasters on your phone with our podcast on it. And go rate on all of them for us. That's how we have 5 listeners. It's one person with 5.
One person with 5. Yeah, with 5. Yeah, 5 accounts. We have 7. Because you and I both are on that as well. So.
Well, 8 because Renee.
Oh, there you go. So it's
9 because of Thomas.
Oh yeah, 10 because of my cousin.
Okay, wait,
11 because of Brian. So it's like
our Discord listeners.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got Chad and
don't forget about Discord, folks. Go sign up for Discord. We got a few more than we thought.
Oh yeah, no.
This has turned out to be a better day than I thought.
We're in the low double digits,
We've got 12.
Exactly. I used to say that when I was on the air at Vol State. It was like, I got the numbers in. We were in the high single digits. We're making progress.
I always had 3 listeners. It was Man of War Dude and the 2 pot smokers that would call in and want to do bong hits on the air.
There you go. So. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much. We're going to be back with we've got something really cool coming up here. And I know we've kind of been teasing it, but we're recording it today. So, for the Project Gen X podcast, I'm Alan Smith.
I'm the other guy, Big Dave.
And we will see you next time.
See ya.